Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, imagine this. What if you could dramatically boost your business's bottom line? I mean, really increase revenue without spending even one extra dollar on advertising. Sounds almost too good to be true, right? Like some kind of marketing fairy tale. Well, today we're actually taking a serious plunge into something called conversion rate optimization. You might hear it called CRO. Think of it like uncovering this hidden treasure that's already sitting there in your existing website traffic. Our mission for this deep dive is pretty straightforward. We want to unpack what CRO really means, get down to the fundamental principles, and then walk through a proven step-by-step process. We'll also zero in on specific actionable strategies, especially for those of you listening who lead tech companies or professional services firms, because, well, your needs can be a bit different.
Yeah, absolutely. And that mission, it couldn't be more critical right now. Just think about this stat from WordStream. The average website conversion rate across all industries, it just kind of hovers around 2.35%.
Yeah, 2.35%, that sounds low.
It is. It means for every 100 people visiting your site, fewer than 3 are actually taking a meaningful action you want them to take. That's, frankly, a staggering number of missed opportunities. So CRO then, it's not really about just getting more traffic, more eyeballs. It's about getting a higher percentage of your current visitors to, convert, turning them into customers or qualified leads or maybe loyal subscribers. It's all about making the traffic you already have work much harder and smarter for your business.
That's such a powerful idea, turning that existing traffic into gold, essentially. Okay, let's really unpack this. Let's discover how optimizing those conversions is genuinely a shortcut to being well-informed about growing your business efficiently. So, okay, to really dig into this properly, what exactly is a conversion in this context? And maybe more importantly, how do we even start measuring something that seems so crucial?
Right. So at its core, a conversion is really any action a user takes on your site that directly supports your business goals. And it's definitely not just about making a sale, though that's one type, obviously. For, say, a SaaS company, it might be someone signing up for a free trial. That's a key conversion. For a professional services firm, maybe it's someone requesting a quote or downloading a white paper or even just signing up for a newsletter. So whether it's that final click on a checkout page or, successfully submitting a contact form on a landing page, every single one of those conversions directly contributes to your overall business performance. And measuring it, well, the measurement itself is actually quite transparent, quite simple on the surface. The conversion rate is just the number of conversions you get divided by your total number of visitors, and then you multiply that by 100 to get a percentage. So the formula, conversion rate, conversions, total visitors by 100. Now, while that formula looks straightforward, the real power lies in what that number tells you. It reveals the hidden potential sitting right there on your site. It shows you pretty clearly how efficiently your site is turning those, let's say, passive visitors into active users or leads. And it really highlights exactly where your user experience might be strong or maybe where it's falling down.
That's really fascinating. And you mentioned making existing traffic work harder. I can imagine a business owner, or maybe someone listening right now, juggling a dozen different priorities. What's the most compelling reason they should really, prioritize focusing on CRO today? Why now?
Well, okay, there are 3 core benefits that I think make it almost non-negotiable in today's world. First, and this is a big one, it's incredibly cost-effective. Think about it. Unlike just pouring more money into ads to attract brand new visitors, CRO helps you increase the value from your existing traffic. And you do that without necessarily escalating your acquisition costs. So it's genuinely one of the most efficient digital marketing strategies because you're essentially amplifying the return on your current marketing spend. You're making every dollar work harder.
Okay, cost effective, that makes sense. What else?
Secondly, it fundamentally improves the user journey. I mean, just think about it logically. When you optimize a call to action button, or maybe you simplify a complicated form or refine a landing page, you're actively reducing friction for the user. You're making it easier, more intuitive for them to find what they need and then take that action you want them to take. So this isn't just about boosting a metric, it's about creating a smoother, frankly, more satisfying experience for your audience, which has its own
A
benefits.
better experience. Yeah, that's always good. And the third benefit.
And thirdly, and this is often overlooked, these CRO efforts, they tend to have a much wider impact than you might initially realize. The improvements you make through CRO aren't just isolated tweaks, they actually strengthen performance across all your other marketing channels. Think paid media, organic search, email. When you make your website more effective at converting visitors, that enhanced efficiency kind of ripples outwards, making your entire digital ecosystem perform better. The right CRO changes create a lasting positive impact across your whole site.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let's say you've convinced someone listening, they're ready to tackle this.
Mhm.
But where do you even begin? It feels like it shouldn't just be guesswork, right? Throwing ideas at the wall and hoping something sticks.
Absolutely not guesswork. It's much more scientific than that. Think of it like a detective, maybe, piecing together clues. There's a clear, disciplined process. Let's walk through the 5 key steps that really allow for continuous, effective website optimization.
Okay, 5 steps. Let's hear them.
Right. Step 1, set clear conversion goals. Before you touch anything else, you need to define precisely what actions matter most to your business right now. Is it getting more product purchases? Is it form submissions for leads, maybe booking demos? And crucially, these goals must align directly with your broader strategic priorities. So, for example, a SaaS company trying to scale up might focus heavily on free trial signups, whereas, a professional services firm might prioritize getting more qualified lead submissions through their contact forms. The absolute key here is making sure these goals are crystal clear, they're measurable, and you can actually track them accurately.
Clear, measurable, trackable goals. Got it. Step 2.
Step 2, gather data with analytics tools. Okay, this is what you put on your protective hat. Tools like Google Analytics, maybe Hotjar or Crazy Egg, these become your eyes and ears on the site. You'll want to monitor key metrics like bounce rate, people leaving quickly, identify the common pages where people exit your site. And you can even watch session recordings to see literally how individual users are interacting in real time, click by click, scroll by scroll. The whole purpose here is to pinpoint exactly where users seem to disengage, where they get stuck, and this is crucial. Understand why. Are pages loading too slowly? Is the navigation confusing? Are the calls to action just not clear enough? This data forms the bedrock, the foundation for smart, data-driven experimentation later on.
Okay, so data first, then what?
Step 3, form hypotheses for CRO tests. Right, once you've analyzed that data, you start to form hypotheses. Now, a hypothesis is basically an evidence-based assumption. It's an educated guess about a specific change you believe will improve conversions. For instance, you might hypothesize that changing the text on a particular call to action button from "Learn more" to "Get started today" will increase clicks by, say, 15%. Or maybe that simplifying a very cluttered landing page will reduce its bounce rate because it's less overwhelming. Each hypothesis you create needs to be specific, it needs to be actionable, and it absolutely has to be grounded in the insights you gathered from your data. Oh, and always document your reasoning why you think this will work. That's crucial for learning over time.
Specific, actionable database hypotheses. Makes sense. Step 4 must be testing.
Exactly. Step 4, run A/B tests and track results. This is the experimentation phase. It's where the rubber meets the road. You use platforms like Optimizely, VWO, or even Google Optimize. These tools let you split your website traffic, so maybe half your visitors see the original page, that's the control version, and the other half see your proposed change, that's the test variant. Then you simply compare their performance head to head. Now, it is absolutely critical here to run these tests long enough. You need enough data to get statistically significant results.
Statistically significant meaning.
Meaning you can be reasonably confident that the improvement you observed wasn't just random chance, but a real, repeatable gain directly caused by your change. And beyond just tracking the main conversion rate, you should also monitor other things like user engagement, how far people scroll down the page, maybe form completion rates if relevant. Get the full picture.
Okay, test thoroughly. Look for real statistical proof. And the final step.
Step 5, implement improvements and iterate. Simple enough. Once a test shows a positive, statistically significant impact, you roll out that winning variant across your site. Make it live for everyone. But, and this is maybe the most important takeaway about the process, CRO is not a one-time fix. It's not a project you finish. It really requires building a culture of continuous testing and learning within your organization. When you scale successful elements, maybe it's a high-converting product page layout you discovered, or a really effective call-to-action button style that can lead to significant site-wide improvements over time. This iterative, kind of never-ending approach is absolutely crucial for achieving those long-term gains and, frankly, maintaining your competitive edge online.
So it really is a cycle, isn't it? A continuous learning journey. You observe, you hypothesize, you test, you learn, you implement, and then you start observing again, which sound exactly like what businesses need for continuous improvement.
Precisely. It's all about constant evolution, adapting to what your users are actually telling you through their behavior. And while that 5-step process is pretty universal, there are certainly some general best practices that tend to be effective across most industries. These strategies usually focus on 2 core ideas. making things clearer for the user, and actively removing any friction or obstacles in their path.
Improving clarity and removing friction. Okay, tell me more.
Well, one key practice is to refine landing pages and funnel flow. Think about it. A high-performing landing page needs to perfectly match the user's expectations. The messaging should align with how they got there, maybe from an ad or a search result, and it needs prominent, unmistakable calls to action. But it's not just the single page. To truly improve your overall conversion rate, you often need to streamline the entire funnel or user journey. That means reducing unnecessary steps, maybe eliminating distracting elements on the page, and definitely prioritizing mobile usability, making sure it works flawlessly on phones and tablets. These kinds of refinements effectively sort of grease the wheels of the user journey, making it incredibly easy for them to get to that conversion point.
Makes sense. Streamline the path. What else?
Another critical element is to optimize CTA buttons for action. Your call to action buttons, they're pivotal points in almost every conversion pathway. Just testing things like the button, copy the words on the button, its color, its size, its placement on the page. These can significantly impact your conversion rate. Small changes, big results sometimes. Using action-oriented language is usually essential. Think get started, download now, request a demo, instead of passive stuff like submit or click here.
Yeah.
And experimenting with position, like placing it above the fold so people see it without scrolling, or positioning it right near key benefits helps you discover what really resonates best with your audience. Sometimes the best CTA isn't even about the button itself, but about having a really compelling offer leading up to that button.
Right. The whole context matters.
Yeah.
Good point. Any other big best practices?
And finally, a really powerful one is to personalize the user experience. Whenever you can tailor things like product recommendations or use dynamic messaging that changes based on who the visitor is, or segment your audience to show them more relevant content, you make the experience feel far more relevant and impactful for that individual user. And that drastically improves engagement and ultimately leads to better conversion outcomes. Using personalization tools to align your offers with specific user behavior, or maybe even their location or past purchase history, directly supports a higher conversion rate by making sure your strategy feels less generic and more, well, personal. It helps ensure your approach is consistent and scalable too.
That's a really solid foundation of best practices. Now, you mentioned earlier that while these principles are universal, the how can often depend on the specific type of business. And we know this deep dive is particularly aimed at folks in tech and professional services. So let's drill down a bit. How might these CRO strategies differ for, say, an e-commerce site selling products versus a tech startup that's primarily focused on generating leads?
Yeah, that's a really crucial distinction to make because the primary goals are different. Let's touch on e-commerce first, just as a contrast, because many people are familiar with that model. For e-commerce businesses, the focus is often, understandably, very intense on optimizing the product pages themselves and, of course, the checkout flow. This involves things like showcasing really high-quality images, providing detailed descriptions, having super clear pricing, and placing those add to cart or buy now CTAs very prominently to build immediate user confidence. And then simplifying the checkout process is huge. Things like offering guest checkout options, displaying strong trust signals like secure payment badges or guarantees, and ensuring excellent mobile optimization. These can significantly improve a site's visitor-to-customer ratio.
Right, getting people through that checkout hurdle.
Exactly. E-commerce also puts a lot of effort into addressing cart abandonment. When people add items to their cart but don't complete the purchase, it's a massive issue. So they use tools like exit intent pop-ups, those messages that appear when you're about to leave the site, or automated recovery emails reminding you about your cart and retargeting ads following you around the web, all crucial for bringing users back. And finally, leveraging trust signals is key. Things like customer testimonials, product reviews, user-generated photos, placing these strategically near product details or CTAs helps reduce hesitation and reinforces the site's credibility. People trust other people.
Okay, so that's e-commerce. How does it shift for our listeners in tech and professional services?
Right. So if we connect this to the bigger picture for tech companies and professional services firms, their primary goal is often lead generation, right? Not necessarily direct online sales. So the approach shifts slightly. The key here becomes much more about building trust upfront and clearly demonstrating the value you offer before you ask for the conversion, which is usually contact information or a request for more details. So for service-based businesses and B2B websites, the specific strategies look a bit different. First, you really need to craft value-focused messaging that converts. Your homepage, your landing pages, they absolutely must deliver clear value right up front. This means getting rid of vague, jargon-filled headlines and replacing them with clear statements that explain exactly how your service solves a specific problem or improves efficiency for the client. What's in it for them? You should avoid just listing features without context. Instead, focus intensely on the benefits those features provide. This approach strengthens your lead generation efforts across all your key entry points by improving clarity, enhancing the perception of value, and building trust from the get-go.
Focus on benefits, not just features. Got it. What's next for Service B2B?
Second, you need to simplify and strengthen lead capture. We've all seen them, those incredibly long contact forms asking for your life story. They're notorious for lowering submission rates. You really need to trim those form fields down to only the absolute essentials needed to qualify or follow up with the lead. What do you really need to know right now? Also, it's super important to clearly communicate what happens next after a user submits the form. Will they get an email? A call? When? Managing expectations reduces friction and improves their confidence in hitting submit. Honestly, even small tweaks to your forms can significantly impact your lead submission rates. For professional services firms especially, optimizing these forms is a really powerful CRO tactic that can lift your average conversion rate without needing huge site redesigns.
Simplify the ask, clarify the next step. Makes sense. And the third point.
Third, you must align content with the buyer journey. Effective CRO for B2B and service businesses means thinking carefully about the content you offer and mapping it directly to where the potential client is in their decision-making process, their stage in the conversion funnel. Think of the buyer journey in stages. At the top, the awareness stage, visitors might not even fully understand their problem yet. They need educational material, blog posts, maybe ebooks that help them define it. Then, in the middle, the consideration stage, they're actively researching potential solutions. Here, they need things like comparison guides, webinars, detailed white papers. And finally, at the bottom, the decision stage, they're pretty much ready to choose a provider. Now they're looking for demos, case studies, pricing information, or a way to directly contact sales. When you align your content with their intent at each stage, you ensure visitors get the right information at the right time. And that naturally enhances your conversion efforts, lifting both engagement and the effectiveness of your lead generation right across your website.
That's a really clear breakdown of how the focus shifts. Awareness, consideration, decision, content. Okay, this raises another important question, though. You're doing all this work, running tests, making changes. How do you actually know if your CRO efforts are working?
Yeah.
And maybe, just as importantly, what are the common traps or pitfalls we should definitely try to avoid along the way?
Yeah, measuring success and avoiding mistakes are absolutely critical to making CRO a sustainable practice, not just a short-term experiment. First, on measuring success, you absolutely need to track and benchmark your conversion rates consistently. It helps to know what a good conversion rate looks like in your specific industry or niche. This gives you meaningful benchmarks to aim for and helps you track real progress over time. And after each test you run, you need to meticulously monitor how your key conversion rates change. Are the improvements steady? Are they statistically significant, like we talked about? You need data-backed proof, not just a feeling that things are better.
Okay, track the numbers compared to benchmarks. What else?
Second, you need to analyze test results and user feedback. The best CRO practitioners don't just look at the quantitative data, the numbers. They combine it with qualitative insights, the why behind the numbers, things like user surveys, watching those session recordings we mentioned, using on-site feedback tools. These help you understand why users are behaving the way they do, not just what they're doing. This combined approach ensures your CRO efforts are focused on genuinely improving the overall user experience, which almost invariably boosts engagement and correlates with higher site-wide performance and conversions.
So, numbers plus the why. Makes sense.
And finally, maybe the most strategic point on success. Build a culture of CRO. Truly successful conversion rate optimization isn't just a task for the marketing department. It works best when entire teams, marketing, design, product, even development, are empowered to test hypotheses and learn continuously. Organizations that manage to embed CRO as a core, ongoing practice, rather than just treating it as a reactive fix when numbers dip, they're the ones who reap the long-term compounding benefits. The result is a website that constantly evolves alongside your audience's needs, and a team that understands precisely which changes are likely to bring the most impactful results.
A culture of testing and learning. I like that. Now, what about those pitfalls? What are the big mistakes people make?
Ah, yes, the pitfalls. There are definitely several common mistakes that can easily derail even the best intentions with CRO. Number one, and perhaps the biggest, is one, relying on guesswork without data. Just acting on assumptions, hunches, or what a competitor is doing. It leads to inconsistent, often frankly negative outcomes. Effective CRO always starts with interpreting behavioral data, understanding user flows, looking at engagement metrics. That data guides informed, high-impact changes. Trying to do CRO without data is like trying to navigate a ship in thick fog without a compass or a map. You're just lost.
Okay, no guessing. What's mistake number 2?
It too, ignoring mobile optimization. This is almost unforgivable today. Mobile traffic dominates most websites now across nearly every industry. If you fail to optimize your site experience for smaller screens, you're sharply limiting your reach and basically alienating a huge segment of your potential audience. It's just bad business. Your CRO strategies must prioritize responsive design, ensuring fast load times on mobile connections, and making navigation truly touch-friendly. A clunky, frustrating mobile experience is an absolute conversion killer. Period.
Mobile first, or at least mobile equal. Got it. Number 3.
3, making changes without testing. Just deciding, oh, this looks better, or let's try this new headline, and launching it site-wide without any kind of validation. Well, it introduces unnecessary risk, and it makes it impossible to know if that change actually helped, hurt, or did nothing at all. A/B testing or other controlled experiments are crucial here. Never assume your idea is better. Always test it against the current version.
Always test, don't just launch. Okay, number 4.
4, focusing only on aesthetics instead of conversion functionality. Look, an attractive, modern-looking interface is nice to have, but it doesn't guarantee performance if users can't easily find what they need or complete the task you want them to complete. Design decisions must always support usability and clear conversion goals first and foremost. Your website isn't primarily an art gallery. It's a tool designed to achieve specific business outcomes. Function needs to lead form, or at least work hand in hand.
Function over pure fashion. Makes sense. And the last big pitfall.
5, overlooking page load speed and technical performance. This is foundational. Slow loading pages are incredibly frustrating for users. Studies show people will exit almost immediately if a page takes too long to load. So technical performance, including your load speed, how responsive the site is, ensuring it's free from errors or broken links, is absolutely fundamental to any successful CRO strategy. It directly impacts your ability to increase conversion rates. You simply can't optimize a user journey on a slow, broken system. Fix the foundation first.
Those pitfalls are incredibly insightful and probably very familiar to some listeners. You've mentioned a few tools along the way, and it really sounds like having the right toolkit is pretty essential for doing CRO successfully. What should our listeners be looking for in terms of tools?
Yeah, it truly is about having the right instruments for the job. A successful, sustainable CRO program really hinges on using the right tools to first identify those friction points we talked about, then to test potential solutions, and finally to validate that the improvements actually worked.
So what kinds of tools are we talking about?
Well, broadly, you can group them into a couple of categories. First, you absolutely need analytics tools. These are things like, most commonly, Google Analytics, but also tools like Mixpanel or Heap, depending on your needs. These are your foundational data sources. You use them to calculate your current conversion rates, identify exactly where people are dropping off in your funnels, and analyze detailed user behavior, things like how long people stay, session duration, bounce rates, the paths they take through your site, conversion paths. They really help answer that fundamental question. Where is the user experience breaking down? They show you the what.
Okay, analytics for the what, then what helps with testing?
Then you have your testing and optimization tools. These are platforms like Optimizely, VWO, or the previously mentioned Google Optimize, though its future is a bit uncertain, the concept remains. These are your experiment platforms. They're what allow you to actually run those A/B tests, splitting traffic between different versions of a page to see which one performs better. And often alongside these, you have tools like Hotjar or Crazy Egg that provide heat maps showing where people click and scroll maps showing how far down they scroll. These give you deeper, more visual insights into how users are actually interacting with each page design. Remember, structured testing is really at the core of effective CRO. It ensures that the improvements you make are based on actual user behavior data, not just on gut feelings or assumptions.
Right, so analytics to find problems, testing tools to try solutions. How do you choose the right ones? There seem to be a lot out there.
That's true, the market has grown. When it comes to choosing the right tool, it really should always align with a few key things: your available technical resources, your specific CRO goals, and of course, your budget. Ideally, you want to look for platforms that integrate reasonably well with your current tech stack, your CMS, your CRM, etc. And importantly, try to find tools that empower marketers or the CRO team to launch and manage tests without needing heavy reliance on developers for every single change. That speeds things up immensely. Ultimately, tools that are scalable, meaning they can grow with your needs and are relatively intuitive to use, make it much easier to embed CRO consistently into your workflow. That ensures you can quickly identify and implement those changes that will most effectively boost your conversion rates over the long haul.
That's great advice on tooling. So let's try and bring this all together. What does all this mean for you, our listener, tuning in today? It seems really clear that conversion rate optimization, CRO, is far more than just another marketing buzzword. It feels like a critical, really strategic pillar for any business that's looking to truly thrive digitally in today's competitive landscape.
I couldn't agree more. Precisely. You look at the market today, customer acquisition costs are constantly rising, user expectations are incredibly high, they demand seamless experiences. In that environment, just relying solely on growing your traffic volume, it often isn't enough anymore. It's getting too expensive. The real sustainable performance gains, the real efficiency, comes from increasing the value you extract from the traffic you already have. It's fundamentally about working smarter, not just harder, and maximizing the potential of every single visitor who lands on your website.
So maybe think about this as we wrap up. If even relatively small, data-backed tweaks and optimizations can significantly shift your conversion rates upwards, what untapped potential might be hiding right now within your existing audience, on your current website? What's the one friction point, the one hurdle on your website that you might look to investigate and optimize first after listening to this deep dive? Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration of conversion rate optimization. We genuinely hope these insights empower you to start thinking about and maybe transforming your own digital strategies. Until next time, keep diving deep.